Multiplayer games are always in a constant state of flux. Nerf buffs and balancing are commonplace, especially when a character that's too strong can negatively affect the experience of other players. Today, we're going to look at the Kensei and the changes that were made to him in patch 1.05. Besides a few minor quality of life buffs, the most noteworthy changes are to Helm Splitter and Swift Strike, the Kensei's forward dash light attack and side dash light attack respectively. These moves were originally chain starters but can now be used to advance to the final hit of your attack chain. This means you'll have a much easier time using your top heavy unblockable attack and the mix-ups that follow. So now that we've talked about what the changes are, we're going to take a look at them in some duels. First up, we're going against a Lawbringer, another character that was given some pretty hefty buffs. The Lawbringer has always been a pretty powerful counterattacker against anyone that uses light attacks frequently, and the Kensei is one of those characters. My Helm Splitters and my Swift Strikes are going to be very dangerous maneuvers because that'll elicit the ad mortem inimicus response from the Lawbringer. So right away we're getting pretty bruised up, getting bopped on the head, and we are going to return a bop on the head of our own with Helm Splitter, but not going to follow it up with our unblockable attacks. Just wasn't ready to do so just yet, but I did manage to find an opening, and as we can see, being able to segue directly into the Kensei's mix-up game can do some devastating things to your opponent. There's always going to be the argument that better opponents aren't going to fall for the mix-up game, but you know, how many of us have missed parries? I think we've all missed a parry when we really needed to land a parry, and it's cost us a game. I think we've all made mistakes, and the Kensei is all about trying to force your opponent to make mistakes as much as possible by keeping people on their toes and mixing up, and the Helm Splitter changes and the Swift Strike changes allow him to mix up more and force those mistakes more often. In this next duel, we're going up against a Nobushi, and she's clearly not falling for my bullshit, and that's something you're going to notice if you like to play the Kensei. The better you get and the higher up in the elo brackets that you start to climb, the less likely your mix-ups are going to work. But that's what makes this class so interesting, is that you can always keep changing your patterns and the way you choose to initiate. And again, the Helm Splitter and Swift Strike changes allow you to change those patterns more often than you would normally be able to do. Alright, for this final duel, we're going to take a look at the entire match of Kensei versus Warden. Warden is a very difficult character for anyone to handle, but especially for the Kensei, because his Helm Splitter is a top attack, it becomes significantly more dangerous against the Warden's crushing counter-strike. So if this guy is adept at using it, which I imagine he is, after getting to Prestige 5, I'm gonna be in for some serious trouble. Already taken a little bit of punishment from the zone attack, but nothing too crazy as of yet. Landing a nice side heavy attack and then whiffing a guard break and gonna get punished very severely for it. This is always a dangerous position when the Warden gets off a guard break. They can segue that into their vortex, but I'm gonna cancel out his top heavy attack with a guard break, attempting to get a nice little wombo combo going, but nothing too much is gonna come of it. But there is something gonna come out of the superior block property on the Kensei's dash. That is one of the more interesting characteristics of the Kensei. But before we get into that, we are currently out of stamina, but fortunately we were able to avoid the vortex, just playing all the right notes, and then we are going to finish off the first round with a successful top heavy feint into side heavy, feint the side heavy into a guard break, and then one more heavy attack to finish the job. Now, the Kensei has a superior block property when he dashes, so if his guard is to the left and he dashes forward, he will superior block on the left, and from there you can get a free guard break. It's a very interesting technique. It's similar timing to a parry, but it's a bit tricky to land. I'm not an expert at it, but damn it, when I land it, I get excited. So round 2 is kicking off. I'm trying to play a little bit with the range of the Kensei, swinging from a considerable distance away, throwing out the zone attack. The timing on that thing, even for expert players, can be tricky. It's just a very slow moving attack. Gonna avoid getting caught in the vortex while out of stamina, but I am gonna take a side heavy attack. That is a big amount of punishment, and I definitely don't need that, but the Warden is getting punished. He's trying to feint his top heavy attack into a guard break, and I'm throwing out light attacks to interrupt him. Now the zone attack is going to come out again, but it will get parried this time, but fortunately the range of the Kensei is going to prove advantageous, because even though he successfully parried me, I'm going to lose some stamina out of that, but I'm not going to get guard broken and put into the vortex situation. At this point, we're both even on health. It looks like I thought he was going to throw a full top heavy attack, so I attempted to swift strike and then possibly chain that into some unblockable attacks, but it did not work out as planned. And that is really the danger of using dodge attacks. If you do them too much, your opponent is just going to feint and bait out your dodge attack response and then parry you and punish you afterwards. So you've always got to, you know, really try and assume what your opponent is going to do. And right there, I made a little bit of an assumption. I threw out a side heavy, it connected, and we're going to walk away with the round 2 victory. If we can get one more win, we'll walk away with the whole thing, but there's always a chance for a comeback. Now, I'm going to give you a little bit of backstory on this duel. I was fighting this guy for about 30 minutes. We had 4 or 5 matches, and he beat me every time. So I was really trying to put my best foot forward here and show him that I am not a scrub. He's throwing out that guard break mix-up for his shoulder bash, but I'm going to cancel it out with a light attack. That's definitely an option if you have enough attack speed. And unfortunately, I'm going to throw out another top attack, and he is going to hit me with the crushing counter-strike, charging up the shoulder bash to full, trying to get a heavy attack on me to maybe finish me off. And then I'm just going to walk right into it. He is going to whiff punish me with a top heavy, so I'm not going to walk away with the clean sweep, the 3-0. But man, this guy, he gave me a run for my money in the previous matches that we're not even going to bother looking at because I got my ass whooped. But I'm doing all right this time. I'm holding my own, or maybe he's just letting me win. We'll have to see how this next round goes. At round 4, I've got to be telling myself, okay, you just got to do one more good one. No more mistakes. We got to get this real clean. And after seeing that my opponent is fully capable of using that crushing counter-strike, I have to be a lot more careful. I have to be a lot more careful when attacking from the top. But right now, my opponent is doing all of the attacking from the top, just throwing out those top heavies, probably trying to get a little bit of a mind game situation going on. He's going to throw out a side heavy, and it is going to get parried, followed up with a guard break. Not going to follow through with the unblockable attack. Just trying to get that mind game set up once again, make it so that my opponent never knows, am I going to let it fly? Am I going to feint it to the side? There's so many different options. Keep him guessing about what my intentions are. And at this point, I'm starting to fall into the trap. He was throwing out those top heavies just raw, letting him rip, and when he finally feints one, he's able to get me caught in a guard break. But this time, he's going to let it fly, and I'm going to parry it, and this is where the mix-ups begin. But unfortunately, I'm going to make a wrong decision. If I would have just let that uninterruptible side heavy go, it would have dealt a significant amount of damage, maybe even would have killed him. But unfortunately, I was thinking maybe he's going to go for the parry, and damn, that top attack is going to finish me off. So he has closed the gap. It doesn't look like this guy is letting me win by a long shot, and I am saying that I committed suicide there by attacking a warden in his top guard, and that is definitely a truism. But because this is the final round, because the score is 2-2, we've got to start playing a little bit of epic music. Let's see if we can bring home the whole kit and caboodle. So, ladies and gentlemen, but mostly gentlemen, we've seen the potential of the new Kensei changes. We've seen that he can get into those mix-ups more easily if he successfully dodges an attack. If he plays the right mind games, he can be a very devastating character. The question now is, can I be devastating with him? The Warden going to throw out a zone attack, and it's going to get blocked, which is going to open him up for a free guard break, using that opportunity to go for the top unblockable feinted to the left side this time instead of the right, letting it fly. It won't get parried, using my zone attack, and finally I'm going to feint it this time. Feint, just all types of feints coming out right now. There's too many to count, too many to talk about all of them. But we are both on a pretty even playing field. I tried to go for a superior block guard break there, but my timing was a little bit off, so I took some heavy punishment, throwing out a side heavy attack, just letting it fly, and it is going to connect. At this point, we just need one more hit to connect, and we will walk away with the victory. Can we do it? No. I felt that one. I felt it back then when I was fighting him, and I felt it again now, and it feels bad, man. But before we close out completely, we're going to take a look at one more clip that exemplifies what these changes mean for the Kensei. My opponent throwing out a light attack. I'm going to follow that up with a swift strike, and then the mix-ups start happening, and that's what it's all about. It's all about being able to quickly transition into your most powerful techniques, and that is the feinting of the top-heavy unblockable. All in all, I think we put up a pretty good fight, and I think we showed off that the Kensei does have some pretty interesting potential to be a very strong and maybe even competitively viable character. There'll always be a debate among the pro players of whether or not you should play the Kensei, whether or not his tools for opening up a turtle are where they should be, but, you know, he's pretty cool. At the level that I play him at, with all the rest of the regular people, he's a pretty damn strong character, and he's pretty fun. So, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. As always, the name of the game is For Honor. The name of the channel is iBluairJgR Gaming for Comedy. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.